welcome to Clover's Corner. I'm Talia, and it's been a minute. I'm probably actually kind of rusty. It's been about 4 months since I did my last episode. That wasn't intentional. I had other things I was going to talk about, and on this podcast I was actually going to talk a lot about YouTube stuff like Colleen Ballinger's toxic gossip train and the Smosh reunion of Ian and Anthony and bringing back the old school stuff, but I have some life updates, so we're gonna do that instead. So let's see, where do we start? So some like kind of crazy news that just shocked me was, I think it was about a month ago now, yeah, something like that. We were all called into work for a meeting. I won't say where I work, obviously, but yeah, it's just kind of like a office-y type job, but in a warehouse. And we're all called into this meeting, and there was a projector on the screen, and we've never had a meeting like this with a projector, or like someone speaking to us on Zoom or Skype or whatever. So it was very strange, and we found out that the company will be closing down in 2 years, and we were kind of just looking around at each other like, what? Like, there were so many plans about to happen, and then it just all got cancelled. The people who own our company, so like the parent company, they found that South Australia was the only state that was making money after a period of time, so yeah, everything's gone. And I remember feeling devastated. I mean, I still do, but it's crazy. The first time I've ever gotten a permanent job, and they're like, in 2 years you won't be here. So that happened. But that's not what this episode's about. I have a doozy of a story for you. So strap your seatbelt in, because here we go. So about a month ago, my boyfriend Declan and I were trying to get Clover through the window. We've kind of taught her, well, she kind of started it, the dog started it, but we'd open the window, because she sits on the windowsill when you don't open the back door quick enough, and she gets really frustrated, so she taps on the window, and instead of getting up and walking to the back door, we started picking her up through the window. We were doing that, and Declan leaned too far and he almost fell through the window, and like I screamed and I panicked. No one was hurt, it was fine, but the window's broken. He did have someone who was going to like get the window fixed, but I thought, I'm sure there's a easy way to do this. So I made the silly mistake of going on Airtasker. I've seen it advertised a million times, but I even know people who use it, but I've never used it, and I will never use it again after this story. It's not Airtasker's fault entirely, but still shit. So I put a post up on Airtasker, and I'm like, hey, need someone to replace a window. I thought no one would respond, because I've tried that sort of thing on different apps before and like eventually given up because no one responded. That day, someone responded. So he goes, what do you need? And I was like, I need this window, this is what it looks like, I need it replaced. And then without me saying anything, he said I can cut, measure, install, do it all in one day, and I've got the equipment, everything. I was like, that's great, awesome. We set up a time for the next day at 1 p.m. This was on a weekend. Now, silly me accidentally paid him before the task was completed. Airtasker doesn't particularly make this clear. Like, they say don't pay until the task is done. I understood that, but I didn't realise that releasing funds meant paying the person. I thought you had like a digital wallet and you could put your funds in there and then release them to someone when you're paying them, kind of like a PayPal. I didn't realise you don't have money in your account, and then when you pay someone, you're paying them. Like, there isn't a holding thing, I don't think. So I paid him, but he still said he was coming, so wasn't too worried. All day I was messaging like, he's still coming, and 3 hours later he showed up. I was going to cancel as he was about to show up, but then as I was typing, he was at my door, so I was like, I'll hear him out. He goes to my window and I guess pretends to measure it because he just had a measuring tape and he didn't have any equipment or anything with him, but sorry, the light flickers sometimes. But yeah, so he measures it and he goes, oh, I can order the glass. And I was kind of a bit annoyed because I was like, well, you said you could do it today. And he goes, oh, no one does it like that, you have to order it. I don't know anything about windows, so I assumed this must be the case. But I had a little bit of a hint he was lying. So he's like, give me your number and then I can contact you. I was like, okay. I didn't want to be confrontational while he was at my house. So I waited for him to leave and I was like, do not order the window. He said, I've already ordered the window. I'm like, I don't know how, because you did it within 30 seconds of leaving my house, but okay. He goes, you're going to have to, I said, so how do refunds work? Do you just pay me back? And he goes, oh no, you have to do it through Airtasker. Okay. I contact Airtasker. Airtasker doesn't do refunds. Surely this is illegal, right? Like, how can a company that do services of paying people or getting people to do jobs not have a thing for refunds? That seems messed up to me, but what do I know? So, yeah, I go through Airtasker, they go, we don't do refunds, you have to sort it out with him. So, for like, how many days now? It was like over 2 weeks, I'd be like, where's that refund? And he goes, oh, well, I ordered the glass, so I'm only going to give you $150 back. I said, well, no, because I didn't want you to order the glass. He kept going back and forth, and then every time I would ask for a refund, he would change the amount. So he'd go, actually, I can only give you 30 back, 50, 45, and I'm like, no, you're going to give me the full refund. It's been really annoying, and yeah, so then it was getting ridiculous, so I was screenshotting all the things. I went to the bank, they said, there's no evidence that he didn't do it. I'm like, well, there isn't evidence he did do it either, the window still has a hole in it. So, yeah, so then I talked to Airtasker, and there's a sneaky thing you can do, which is ask for the other person's details to solve the matter, because I should have known it was scammy. I only knew his first name and eventually his phone number, so I couldn't search him on Facebook or anything. Yeah, I didn't have any details, and his name was like pretty generic, or like common, I should say. So yeah, so that happens. I'm waiting for my refund and a response. He goes days without responding, and then it turns into like a week and stuff. So I'm like, you know what, I'll call him. He doesn't respond to my phone calls. He answers them and then like doesn't say anything and waits for me to hang up after I've said stuff. So I was like, I might have to take legal action because you're not responding. This is kind of fraud, I guess. And he's like, stop harassing me. Stop mentally harassing me, which I don't understand. So then I get my dad to call him, and of course he starts responding and being like, oh yes sir, yeah, yes, I understand. And he goes, oh, I'm in Melbourne, I can't pay you back. And we're like, well, we're up to like 2.5 weeks now. You could have paid before that. Sorry. And then, like, because he kept asking for my bank account details, and I didn't feel comfortable doing that because you already came to my house and you already stole my money, basically, so I'm not going to give you more details and waste through that. So he goes, okay, what about this? And then I'm like, I gave you 3 or 4 different options and it doesn't work, so what do you want me to do? So then, I am just, like, kind of freaking out a bit. So I go to the police station, they go, this isn't a police matter. Then I go to Consumer Affairs, they go, this is for, like, big companies, this is an individual, so I had to go to Consumer and Business Services. And I spent a whole day, not a whole day, sorry, like, felt like it, on and off, but, like, I spent, like, an hour on the phone dealing with this woman who was helping me. She searched, I don't know how they do this, but they searched his name. He is not a glacier, he's not a contractor, he's not licensed to do any installing of anything. So he just was like, yes, I can do the job, showed up, realised he got paid, and left. And so I was like, this is insane. So she tells me to write him a formal email, basically being like, these are the ways you have to pay me, this is what you have to do, or it escalates. He doesn't respond to my email, and he calls my dad again. And he goes, I'll be there this time tomorrow to refund you. Now, I gave him so many options. I gave him PayPal, I gave, like, phone number, bank transfer, that's a thing. I said, bring it, money in cash, and he goes, I'm in Melbourne. We're like, well, you can get someone else to do it. And he's like, oh, we don't feel safe doing that. And I'm like, you don't feel safe? I showed you my house with an entrance point, and you stole my money. What? And so we're waiting. We didn't think he would show up. He did. And every time we asked him a question, like, why did you do this? Why did you agree to a job you couldn't do? He goes, oh no, I'm a carpenter. But you're not. Oh, no, I am. Like, you can do these things. No, you can't. And he just wouldn't really respond to questions. And then when we would ask him, like, why'd you scam us? He goes, I'm not here to fight, mate. I'm not here to fight. I'm just here to get this over with. I'm like, but you're the problem. Okay? Whatever. And so he's like, I just signed this stupid document for him, a statement, so he could get his Airtasker back and he wouldn't get in trouble and all these things. But, like, he could still get in trouble from other means or whatever. But, yeah, he gave me my money back and it's all done. Finally. After 23 days or something. But it's just like, why did you go through the effort? Like, you had to go on Airtasker. You had to find something that you could say you could do. You lucked out on someone paying you before you could do the job. You went to their house. You left. You didn't do anything. Like, I think that's, like, what he was going for. But I also think that he just, because he just switched one day, he was like, okay, I'll give you all the money back. I think he was just frustrated that he couldn't scam me. And, honestly, a bit sexist. He didn't respond to anything I was saying, or was polite. And then the second another man spoke to him, he was like, I can do this. Sorry, I got, like, hiccups. But, yeah, sadly that's a common thing being a woman, is when it comes to, like, plumbing, cars, mechanical things, stuff like that, men assume women don't know, and then if they don't know, they just find ways to ask for more money or scam them into things, like, oh yeah, there's more things wrong with your car than there are. I have to charge you twice as much. And they don't try that shit with men, or if there's a man with a woman, so it's very upset. Or just in general, I've had, like, experiences where, like, a guy has, like, wronged me in some way, whether it's, like, business, like, stuff, or paying something, or even just, like, school or anything like that, and they don't listen to you, but they listen to other men, and I think they think they're being polite or something, because they're like, oh, I'm asking a friend, but, like, if you don't view women as, like, competent people, that is being sexist. I don't know. But this was, like, a head fuck for so long. Like, I really thought it would turn into, like, a police matter or whatever, because he likes to think that he didn't do anything wrong and that I was being unreasonable. I'm like, you never... Oh, that's another thing, because the reason I caught on to him being a scammer before finding out he wasn't a glacier or a carpenter or whatever is he kept saying he ordered this glass, and when I said, do you have proof, do you have an invoice or something? Because if he did actually pay for the glass and I cancelled, I would be happy to go half on the refund. And he was just go, oh yeah, let me get it for you. And then he just didn't show it. And then when he came and gave me the money, he said there was no invoice, but he did have the glass because that's how his company does it. We don't do invoices and things. Which is bullshit. And he also said no company or person can measure and cut and install glass in one day, which is a lie, because I talk to multiple people and businesses and things, and that is a thing if they have it's more so a time issue. But I gave him a whole day, and he was the one who offered. If he said I could do it over multiple days and then I agreed to that, it'd be different. But he goes, I can do it in one day. And so that's what we went by. Stupid. It just doesn't make any sense. If you've been scammed or anything, please comment on the YouTube version of this podcast or respond to me somewhere, because it's pretty common. I don't know if this necessarily was a scam or if it was just my experience, but I was a massive Club Penguin fan. Like, I was on Club Penguin before it was bought by Disney. You could, is it a subscription, I guess, but you could buy a Club Penguin subscription through money order. That was the only way you could do it, and I begged my mum for it, and it like never reached them. So I'm guessing in America you could just use credit cards or something, maybe that's why. But then it was so bullshit though, because you're just changing outfits on a digital penguin and they're charging money and they're making kids beg their parents for it. I still have the printout of it, but I drew a picture and wrote a story. But there was a Club Penguin competition and you had to write about Herbert, which was a polar bear that was evil, in Club Penguin, a part of a spy game, and you could win money or a gift card or membership or something. But yeah, Club Penguin was like a big part of my life for a long time, and I remember being like, is this a scam? It's crazy. Like, you would go on the Igloo and try to tip it. That was like a rumor. And then when they actually did cancel or shut down Club Penguin on the last day, you could tip it. And it was like, it's real. Like, that is also kind of a scam in a way, when a rumor would go around about a video game. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about. But back when I was like less than 10 probably, if you played a video game and you were stuck, you had to find someone in your school that had the game and passed that part, and you'd give them your memory card, then they'd give it back and you'd try and pass it, whatever. And it's like, I did that once and the person couldn't do it, and then the second I got it back, I was able to do it on the game. But yeah, you'd go around the school and it'd be like, oh, if you do this in the game, like if you do this code, you'll be able to get to another level without doing it, like passing a level or whatever. Like, these were the rumors, because the only ways you could find the cheats is if it was in the booklet of the game, or if it was in PlayStation Magazine or a kid told you. So you had to pick one of those things. A lot of demo discs had codes that you could put in on the menu screen, and it would just give you a free game, like the whole game, to something else. It was, I think it was Crash Bash. It had all of one Spyro game on it. If you put a code in somewhere, or the other way around, it was a Spyro game that led to Crash Bash. Something like that. But yeah, now it's just like games are finished in like, everything's just dissected in a game like the week of release. Like, in the heyday of Five Nights at Freddy's, it's like, I never played the games, I just watched people play them, but it's like, people went through the code of the game within a week and like tried to find the lore and everything. Like, people dig deep on this stuff. I guess because we've got about 10 minutes left, I will talk about the YouTube stuff that I was going to talk about, or hinted at the beginning. Colleen Ballinger. So, there's no way you don't know who I'm talking about right now, because you're on the internet and it's everywhere. It has been. She had a character called Miranda Sings. I never found her funny, but it was aimed at children, and she'd wear this big red lipstick and have this funny voice, and that was the gimmick. It came out that she's a groomer, and a lot of people have tried downplaying it, even Colleen herself, because it's like, oh, I didn't touch kids, I didn't do anything, but it is grooming. She was in her 30s, and she'd have a group chat with fans asking them really creepy, perverted questions, and was trying to, like, gain trust, and she'd be like, guys, you're my friends, and it's like, these children don't know any better. Multiple other YouTubers and people have called her out, and her response was, I'm not going to say anything for a month, and then get on YouTube and do a ukulele song for 10 minutes. And the song included lyrics like, I'm not a groomer, I'm just a loser. The only thing I ever groomed were my 2 Persian cats. Interesting choice of apology. Definitely the most creative. And the worst one we've seen. Like, I've been through the YouTube apologies. It's definitely still a new thing. I guess because there were a lot less YouTubers when I first started watching YouTube, and I guess there wasn't as much controversy back then. I don't know why that is, because the content was there, the bad content was always there, but we didn't talk about it, I guess, or it was accepted. But, even in the song, she says, my team told me not to do this, and she did it anyway. She also sent porn to children, or underage people, and yeah, that's a crime that could get her in trouble still. So the fact she just did a little song and was like, I'm goofy, I'm just friends, I've crossed the line but I'm friends with you guys, it's kind of insane. It's just crazy because there weren't YouTube apologies, and then when they were, it wasn't crimes. It was just like, I was a shitty person and said a shitty thing. Or, I made a bad video and that was not tasteful, or things like that. And now it's like, I'm sorry for committing a crime, but I'm not sorry, is what Colleen says. But, yeah, that's like, I can think of, I'm sure there's so many more, but I can think of 2 different YouTubers that have gone to prison or jail for crossing more than the line with their underage fans. What was his name? Austin Owen? Let me just fact check because I don't want to blast the wrong person. And didn't watch his content, but yeah, sorry. I really don't want to say the wrong name. What is this dude's name? My search history is interesting. Jones! Austin Jones. Who the hell is Austin Owen? It just says real estate people. I have no idea who I was thinking about. Austin Jones was a YouTuber and he sung and went on Warped Tour, and then he would send videos to underage fans asking for them to twerk and giving them instructions on how to do it. And very creepy. I think he is a sex offender, like a registered sex offender now, because he's in jail. I'm sure that's how that works. And Marcus Dibble, I knew someone that watched their content, and so I watched a bit of it. It wasn't particularly my thing, but I was like, oh, he's Australian, that's interesting, that's cool. He had an Instagram account where he would take, like, sexy pictures of women, like, as a side gig, and then he would use that account to message underage fans, being like, I could do these photos for you too. A 13-year-old girl, very smart in hindsight, and I'm proud of her for doing this. She told her parents that he was messaging her and being like, come to my house and stuff, so she took the police to his house, and he's in big trouble. He also got found with, like, copious amounts of steroids, which is funny, because he would do these videos like, look how ripped I am, I work out. And I feel like if you're going to do steroids, you have to be honest about that. Like, it just seems very scammy. Like, no one's denying that, like, without the steroid... Oh, how do I say this? Okay. It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger, for example. He did steroids, but he would only do them for a certain amount of time before competitions. But he was very honest about that. And even without the steroids, he's fucking huge. Like, no one's denying that he's strong or ripped or anything. So, I just think it's funny that a guy that is like, look how cool I am. I'm ripped. Is like, I only am ripped because I do steroids. And look at all the girls I get. And I'm like, yeah, but they're underage. So, I guess we'll go back to that other YouTube thing I was talking about. Smosh. So, I think it was well, I actually have no idea what year it was. Like 2018, 17? Who knows? Who's to say? Anthony left Smosh. So Smosh is and was a like comedy YouTube channel of sketches. They were actually one of the like first channels to get partnered and get paid. They were one of 10 channels to make money on YouTube when it first started. And I remember they were #1 most subscribed at one point with like 1 million subscribers, which is crazy because Mr. Beast has how many millions of subscribers. But yeah, it was a different time on YouTube. But he left Smosh because Smosh sold their company for stock in this other company, and I think that's right. But they sold their company for stock. Defy Media bought their company and would help run things for them, and yeah, they went bankrupt and just closed down, didn't really tell anyone. They just sent them an email being like, bye-bye. And so then, before that happened, Anthony was like, I'm getting out of here. This isn't the thing I created. And now him and Ian are friends again, and they're rekindling their YouTube love. So it's pretty cool to see. It's kind of like seeing two divorced, like how I imagine my parents aren't divorced, but like a child seeing their divorced parents like be friendly and like happy together, even if they're not romantically back together. It's like I'm a big Law and Order SVU fan. I have been since I was like 13, something like that. I would always see the reruns on YouTube and TV and stuff, and I love the show and the chemistry between Olivia and Elliot. At the end of season 12, Elliot left because like Chris Maloney, the actor, it was like deals with like how much he was getting paid on the show or something, and he left the show. And I remember reading an article at the time being like, he's not coming back, and I thought it was a scam. And then the whole first episode I'm like, where is he? And like I still love the show. It's still always been good. But yeah, like for a while when the next few seasons kind of hurt to watch because it was like mum and dad are divorced, and now he's not a main character on the show anymore, but he's come back because he's kind of Olivia's love interest finally. Maybe you feel the same way about a lot of bands, but there's a lot of bands I followed where there was like massive falling out between members, and just they may not get back in the same band anymore, but like when they rekindle their friendship, it's always good to see. Famously, Paramore was a 5-piece, and 2 of them left, and one of the brothers that left wrote this whole blog post slamming Paramore and Hayley Williams, the singer, and then just wrote that the other brother was in on the blog post, but he wasn't. And then, like, however many years later, the brother, Zach Farrow, the drummer, came back, and it was like, oh my god, friends again. And it's so good. So, yeah. Wow, we've done pretty good for first take and first podcast back in a while. So, yeah, we're going to wrap it up now. So, thanks for watching and listening. You can follow me on Twitter at Tahmorrow for as long as Twitter still exists, and Instagram at Tahmorrow, and Clover also has an Instagram account, Clover JRT. I also have a Threads connected to my Instagram. So if Twitter dies, you know where to find me. So thanks so much for watching and listening. I'll see you next time. Bye.